Good morning.
Morning. Good morning.
Oh, and in case I don't see you, good afternoon, good evening, and good night.
Carol, well, that's exactly right. China today denied the claims by President Trump that his team is in talks with the Chinese on the tariffs. In fact, the Commerce Ministry said today, at present, there are absolutely no negotiations on the economy and trade between China and the U.S. The Foreign Ministry also made similar remarks, both of those after, of course, President Trump telling reporters that his team was in direct contact with the Chinese every day. Now, in addition, the Commerce Ministry used stronger language by saying that the U.S., if the U.S. really wants to resolve the problem, it should cancel all unilateral measures on China. So this tougher stance comes as a perception is growing here that the Chinese government is really trying to foment that the Chinese have the upper hand and that President Trump is in a weaker position. The hashtag Trump chickening out has been trending with 250 million views. State TV has also been using one of the memes that has bursted onto the scene here when mocking President Trump officially, calling him the 10,000 tariff grandpa and saying that his constituents have been suffering because of some of his actions. The other memes that are going around, King Know-It-All and Trump the nation builder, but that nation is China. Guys?
This headline this morning, Dow headed for worst April since the Great Depression.
Oh, my God.
What is this all about?
Basically, what we have is a situation where over the course of the last several weeks, there's been an evolving narrative, if you will, right? We talked about this notion that with new policies, especially on the tariff front, what you have is a new degree of uncertainty brought to global markets, global trade, that then manifests itself in the way that markets have reacted with some of that downside volatility. Now, I remember over the course of the last, few weeks having this conversation kind of around the lead up to that so-called Liberation Day and the tariff announcement about the stabilization factor of the U.S. market and the U.S. economy.
Tariff a lot. Okay, tariff some a lot. Okay, tariff only some and not that much, except for China. China, very much. China the most. Well, wait a minute. Maybe not that much. Okay, don't tariff China so much again. Don't play too hardball with China. Four-dimensional chess? This isn't even tic-tac-toe level game theory. To this point, everything the president has done has created a problem, not a solution. Widespread uncertainty about America as a sound investment has taken root because of perceived unstable leadership. The indexes only tell part of the story. Investors all over the world are now making a trade they call the Sell America trade, increasing the odds of a recession, raising the odds for higher inflation, causing consumer confidence to plummet to lower levels.
Courtney, you helped break this story. Walk us through the sequence of events and what we now know.
Yeah, so one of the big questions that we've had ever since the very first Signal chat was exposed by The Atlantic several weeks ago was exactly whether this information was classified. Look, people like, I don't want to put words in General Hertling's mouth, but somebody who has been at the tip of the spear during missions and operations can tell you that specific information about an imminent operation, especially one that has already been ordered to go, would be considered classified, and oftentimes at some of the highest levels of classification in the United States military. And obviously that's to keep the men and women who were involved in that operation safe and protect the sanctity of the mission itself. Well, what we have now learned is that, in fact, the information that was provided by Secretary Hegseth in that Signal chat was provided directly from the commander of U.S. Central Command, General Eric Kurilla. And in fact, he sent that information on a classified system to Secretary Hegseth. And Anna, what we learned, according to these officials who we spoke with, was, in fact, Secretary Hegseth forwarded on that information on his personal phone on an unclassified Signal app, a messaging app that many people use, frankly, but again, unclassified. Literally within minutes of getting that information, he sent that on the Signal app, not only to the Signal chat that National Security Advisor Mike Waltz had started, but also on one that the Secretary himself had started that, as we have now learned, included his wife, his brother, his personal attorney, and a number of his top aides. Again, the information was provided to Secretary Hegseth on a classified server, and he passed some of it on word for word